What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be discussing The Eternals from late on last year. And this movie starred Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, and the list goes on. This movie, I was in the minority. I actually liked this movie a lot. And we're going to get straight into it. Let's start off with the summary, right? The Eternals are Immortals created to eliminate the destructive deviants 7,000 years ago. Regarding the MCU, there were 10 Eternals that were sent to Earth. They were able to eliminate the last deviants, which was 500 years ago, and they have been waiting to go home ever since. That was their promise. And to me, watching this movie, it was really, really different compared to the previous 21, 22 movies, as everything shifted, right? We had Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and some of these characters we still have now. But the majority and the main characters of those franchises and movies past are no longer due to certain circumstances that happened within the MCU. So for me, this was a reach for the MCU franchise. I like the audacity, but there are issues with the execution of the story. I do like the style and the visuals, but I find the characters hard to connect with. Chloe Zhao, which directed this movie, I think did a tremendous job. She provides us with great visuals. I feel like the cinematography was masterful. If you was to rate 1 to 10, I thought it was a masterpiece when it comes to the design, the look of the movie. I really enjoyed this compared to previous MCU films regarding the whole quality of the picture. In this movie, the characters are godlike creatures trying to pass as humans. There's something compelling in that, but the characters never fully find the human level in this movie. Spoiler alert, they're robots. So how can they find that human element to them? Even though on the outside, aesthetically, they hella look like humans, right? But throughout the movie, you figure out that, oh, these are robots inside of human bodies. And there's a barrier to these characters that the film is unable to breach. And it's hard to reach sometimes. In addition to, I'll get to the characters as I go on, but Angelina Jolie, to me, was distracting in this role. I feel like Gemma Chan could have had played Dina and vice versa. Although I like Gemma Chan, but maybe Cersei wasn't maybe the role for her. Cersei, you needed someone in that role with star power, but overall, I think she did a fine job. In the end, this is a tougher premise to execute than most, and the film struggles to give it a human scale. For me, The Eternals comes across as a muddled, standalone MCU film. You know, there are 4 credited writers in this, and even though the movie doesn't take you for a loop, it doesn't give you a certain direction in which you should follow. The movie kind of goes back and forth of present day and the past, which I enjoyed for the most part. But I feel like if you're going to do that, make sure that these characters are fully fledged. The Eternals, like I said before, are immortal with these superpowers. And the superpowers kind of annoyed me because they basically took from DC, the DC route. You know, you have characters in here that remind you of Superman, with Superman powers. You have another one with like the Flash-like powers. Another one that kind of has Aquaman powers. And you're like, wait a minute, I want to see something different. You know, you have a superhero that shoots these things outside his fingers, and this is the way he shoots. It's kind of cheesy. But overall, you know, after they kill these deviants, who are like dragon-like monsters, the Eternals, you go back and they give you that little backstory, how they were created by the creator Arishem. And they'll have different powers and abilities, as I mentioned, you know, since they have been shape-shifting civilization on Earth. And in modern day, you have the Eternal Cersei, who comes across a deviant attack in the first 100 years. And you see the way that is taken care of, along with the other Eternals. You have Icarus, played by Richard Madden, who I thought was awesome. But he has these Superman-like powers. And Sprite, who can go to South. She can go to... she looks like a little girl, but she's actually a grown woman. And her powers are basically she could mirror herself, which I thought that power was fascinating. They eventually unite with the rest of the Eternals throughout the movie, seem to have been evolved. And they wrap up this kind of Greek mythology that's going throughout the story. There seems to be a little more of an adult approach in this film. By Marvel here, I think this is the first movie. There's even a love scene, a minor love scene, a gay kiss. One of the Eternals is gay, which was cool. The director, Chloe Zhao, she won Best Director Oscar by the time the film was even released. It was crazy. Adult could also mean more genuine to certain characters, like the character of Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani. He's supposed to be the comic relief, but I feel like a lot of his comical quotes and stuff like that in the movie come off a little too dry for me. The movie also has a lot to mention about, it's kind of self-aware of itself. It mentions DC heroes, which I thought was kind of weird, because you don't see DC mentioning Marvel at all. This might be a film that explores the dark side of having superpowers, or maybe it might be the beginning of a team-up with DC in the future. You just never know when it comes to Marvel. I also liked that the Eternals was a very, very creative risk for Marvel, a breakdown from the formula that's not a radical one, right? Even it was provided to an audience that was pretty much divisive with this film. It's either you really loved it or you really hated it. But I stand in the middle, because I was one of the few people that liked the movie, but had it had its flaws. I had certain issues with it. I feel like it's too long. The acting wasn't great. Comes off wooden. Too many of the characters lacked charisma. Some of the dialogue was atrocious. Still, there was a lot that was enjoyable. It dazzled in parts where a lot of money was spent. You can tell on special effects. I've read a lot of critical reviews, but I'm one of the few that's going to applaud the film. I think they took it to a whole nother level. And if we do get sequels, if we do get a story that can be developed into maybe another MCU film, bringing these Eternals to that film and have them kind of more fleshed out and give them a little more reason for sticking around, then it won't be a lifeless watch after all. It'll be something that's fairly enjoyable. You know, this was another year where Marvel Studios, to me, got it right. I still haven't seen a horrible MCU movie at all. Obviously, there's some better than others, but this one, I give it to. You know, the movie was all flash and bang and no proper contents. It was all essentially just a pointless movie with eye candy. It was visually spectacular. And that's what I want you to go along with when you do decide to watch this film. You can catch it right now on Disney+. Go check it out. But I can't promise you will be entertained. Hopefully you fall like me, you land in the middle. But overall, it's an entertaining watch. I give this movie a 7 out of 10. And go check it out. Let me know what you think. Comment on the Discord. And let's have this reaction. Is it the best Disney movie? Is it the best Marvel movie? Is it lower on the totem pole? Would you like to see a sequel? Or you think they should just leave it like that? Well, let me know if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And if you want more content, you already know I'm right here. Have a good one.